I grew up in Houston, Texas. I was born and raised in Houston, Texas. The area that I grew up and went to school in was the Southwest Houston. So it was like the A-Leaf district. And then for like a really short time, it was the HISD district too, but mostly the A-Leaf district. It had a lot of people there. It was, my school had probably easily like well over, maybe like 2,000, probably way more than that. You don't really remember at the time. You just used to it being a lot of people. I became passionate about makeup way before, well, okay, I became passionate about makeup way after I started doing makeup. Like, I started doing makeup because I was like, once you see the system and you're like, oh, people are going to judge you by the way you look before you get in, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll show them. But I got passionate about makeup because I always had something to say. You know, I was just using the looks as a way to get in the door. And once I get in there, I'll be like, I got something to say. The passion kind of came after, I guess. After this, like, thinking I had the skill established. Because I always say that I wasn't really good. I was just in repetition. I was just doing the same thing over and over and over. It wasn't until I said, okay, I want to create, that I feel like I'm starting to get good. Actually, there was, like, my mom was not into makeup, so I couldn't go to her about it and be like, she was totally against it because I started at 12. She was super against it. She was like, she was ranking on me. That's how much she was against it. She was like, you look like a streetwalker. You know, but then I just kept with it because once you realize that giving up gets you nowhere, you find something and eventually you stick with it. So that's what I did with makeup. I was like, I'm sticking with it because I can get better. I can do this. And so after years, eventually people were like, oh, that's good. Oh, you're good. But I don't really believe that. Unless I'm expressing what I'm trying to, unless I'm creating and expressing at the same time, I don't feel like I'm good. I just feel like I got a lot of work to do. So for role models, not really. There was like, I had friends, moms who wore makeup, but they weren't like into it. It was like women will fall into repetition with makeup, just doing the same makeup for years and years because, you know, it was complimented at the beginning and it's just what they do. And I was in that rut for like at least more than half of my makeup life. I think living in Louisiana is what you make of it. It's good to be exposed to different things so that you can build different layers of skin, you know. I'm not going to talk down from it because it's going to be part of my story. It's going to be part of where I'm from. After living here for close to 15 years, I have adapted some ways. Like, you know, I'm kind of loud. I'm kind of over the top. I'm kind of, you know, the soul of Louisiana will always stick with me. Like, I think being Texas bred and kind of Louisiana grown ain't really a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, you know, but it's part of my story. And anywhere you go, you're gonna see the good and the bad. What I do like about being here, living in Louisiana, is the soulfulness, because what may be, everybody is soulful, you know, more than normal. If someone that is listening to me right now and they have a dream about doing makeup, or they aspire to be, first off, I would ask them, why? Like, why can be so important behind anything that you do. Like, are you doing it out of spite? Are you doing it to compete? Why are you really doing it? Because the best do it because it's an art form, which is an expression of something that you have to say. And if the why is not really good, then you're only going to go so far, you know, because being pretty will only get you so far. Being competitive will only get you so far. Our real job is to have a message, something behind it. I'd be tactical, you know. I would tell you that, I tell everybody, you're going to have many, many ugly years before you have beautiful years. And then even then, you'll still look back on those and be like, what was I doing? So the people that are artists are the ones that are really killing the game, you know. that aren't just doing it to be pretty, because it's actually kind of lame, because pretty is in the eye of the beholder. I made the transition to do cruelty-free makeup because it's what is important. I remember the first time I really found out where meat came from, I was like horrified. I was like, but my mom was like, we gotta eat. So I went along with it for years thinking that I couldn't do nothing about it. And that was my excuse. I was like, well, we gotta eat. And, I'm out here in Louisiana, and I'm like, they like, well, you gonna eat? But once you start really grasping the idea that you do have a choice and that you can make a change and that it does start with you. It's not just rabbits and mice, people. It's cats and dogs too. So how can we love our pet and look at our pet and let something like that happen to a random animal? It's not, I'm not about that. And what good is having a platform if you're not really trying to make a change? What good is having anything if you don't have a message? So it's important to me because I really do love animals. Like, it really touches my heart. Like, I would flash out, I'm like, what are you doing? And I really can't take like the pictures and stuff of seeing the animals being pinned down and tested on and can't move. I can take a lot of shit, but I can't take that because that's how my heart was made. And you should act on the stuff that your heart was made to act upon, whether it's, hunger for children or abuse of women. But animal cruelty is important. In 5 years, I see myself not being a waitress and probably doing YouTube or some kind of streaming thing more full time. I just got to break in there, and I see myself traveling. Because my son is 16, so, around 18, I see a bright future. That's why I stick with it no matter what the numbers look like, because I see a better tomorrow, and it's worth it. Especially, like, you have to ask yourself, even if you're like, I'm tripping, this cannot be for me, who do I think I am, which is stuff I say all the time. But just what if you're wrong? The Relentless Artist name came after so many failed names. The first name was Icy Angels 2, and I loved it, but I think nobody else got it. It was like a breakdown of my first name. And then the second name was Angelica versus Annalicia, which is my nickname is Annalicia, but I mean, it's a long story to that. And but the Relentless Artist is because I refuse to give up, no matter what the numbers look like. No matter if I'm not putting in as much time as everybody else says, I refuse to give up. The best cruelty-free brands to start with is, you're going to go drugstore, But I mean, if you go to the Sephora and Ulta, that's cool too, get it how you get it. But drugstore, Wet n Wild. Hard Candy. I love Wet n Wild. Wet n Wild has came a long way. They have some good products and it's cheap. What's that one? LA Girl? I'm like, it's all right. Look, but and then if you're going into Sephora and Ulta and they have the Essence brand, that's not a bad brand either. I think it's like in Germany, but America needs to get on the game. America and China, I think, are almost the only places where they still test on animals. Everywhere else it's against the law. So that's why we need to apply the pressure to like Revlon and Maybelline and CoverGirl. Like, come on, you can do better. If I had enough money to not ever work again, I would spend so much time creating, researching, probably traveling. I wouldn't just like not do anything, because that's not why I'm here. I just would create. But the thing about being in the struggle is that it gives you so much material to work with. Being in the struggle is beautiful if you can have the right perception on it. So this look was inspired for 4th of July, which is not typically, a holiday that I could be all pumped up about. But again, I'm learning to view things as an artist. you know. So I was like, let me be creative with this. And so basically it's really, the little stars, if you can see them really good, are just like nail art that I glued with eyelash glue on there. And the brands that I'm using is Wet n Wild, like I said before, and I also used Urban Decay, the electric palette, which is cruelty free. The only things that I sometimes are kind of a little skeptical about if I'm using cruelty free are my lashes, which I don't buy lashes from China. I get them from Indonesia, but that don't mean nothing. So I get them from Indonesia. They say made in Indonesia. And this is NYX. It's little sexy kitten, and it's lined with Cherry Skies by NYX too on my lips. So, and I have no highlight, but I have a little bit of blush on today. My eyebrows are Anastasia Beverly Hills. Everything I can is cruelty free. As close as I can get it, I go cruelty free. So black girls can go cruelty free, and they should care. That's all right. I'm waiting for y'all. I'm waiting. I'll go ahead and march up. I'll wait for y'all, because y'all coming, right? It's really no excuse to not, you know, have some kind of message. It's not all about being cute and pretty, which I mean, because it's too much cute and pretty. It's about the message. I also want to say thank you to my team, to my fiance, for all his hard work and efforts that he put in. I mean, it's not easy. Behind the scenes, I cut him no slack. I'm like, you said you was gonna do this, and you didn't. You know, and will too. It takes a lot, you know, to have a mom that's trying to do this. I don't know what people say, you know, but he's always cleaning and always supportive. So, oh, and my dad for never asking me what I'm doing. You know, I never have to worry. He gonna say, what you doing? Or let me see that. So the pressure is always not there. But yeah, thank you for living. Yes, and asking me for things when you need it. And sometimes, every now and then, thank you for kind of laughing at my jokes. I appreciate that.